The hard part is when you are front and center in a community or you're a leader, everybody looks to you and thinks that you've got it together.
That self-pressure is probably the most intense thing.
And I think about this a lot is we are humans at the end of the day. And I think that we can be leaders and people can come to us and lean on us and be that rock, but we have to take care of ourselves too.
Yeah.
The entrepreneurial journey is lonely.
Yeah.
So you're trying to figure all these things out by yourself. And if you are in a space where you don't have other like-minded professionals, it's just really hard. I believe that when you start in the gym and you start just, for me, physically picking up weights and feeling like I had control of something that I had not had control of anything for so long, it taught me that I can do hard shit. I do have control. I can take control of my situation. Becoming my own cheerleader naturally, the same way that I was cheering on other people, that's how I started to recognize what I was worth and what I was capable of. My mantra is I'm not going to give to my own detriment.
I talk about going through storms and like putting yourself in storms. Every time that storm passes, you realize you're still standing.
My husband likes to say you can't crawl out of the ditch until you put yourself in the ditch.
I'm about to put some deodorant on. I don't know what it is when on recording days only. I don't know if it's, I take this so serious that it's
You're
like
sweating.
Yeah, I kind of get like a little beat, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you know. I hope
You're
I
not
don't
bothering me.
Okay.
I assure you.
I'm like,
I don't think about things like that.
I'm over here like on camera, just like giving a sniff. I'm like, what's wrong with me? It's ridiculous. Little scent pouches. I quit doing tobacco like 3 months ago, and I started tobacco when I was 15.
Ooh. How old are you?
36.
How's the last 3 months been?
Great. I switched to this alternative called Set,
Okay.
and it's serotine,
Oh.
and it's very similar to nicotine. Gives you the same kind of, gives you the same benefits, but it doesn't raise blood pressure, doesn't raise your heart rate, and they put L-theanine in there. And I swear, and I'm doing it a lot less. Like I love these because I would go through a can of Copenhagen a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got to where I was doing Copenhagen pouches, but a can a day. So it saves me a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, I don't know, some hippie. I was like, let's try this out. And I swear, I'm like, I've tried every alternative there is. And this is the only thing that's worked. And I have been tobacco free. And I'm feeling good.
And your wife would say the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She's just like.
You always check and see how the other.
Yeah, no, she's like, I'm proud of you. All right. Let's do this. Excuse my congestion. What is up, everybody? This is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit Podcast. What we do on this podcast is bring guests from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, to share their journey and everything along the way that led them to where they're at today. We're here to make an impact, and that is what we do. So if that is for you, like, subscribe, all those wonderful things. And if that is not for you, I don't know what your problem is, but it's time to jump on board today. Thank you. I know. But without further ado, I would love to introduce today's guest. She's here. We're going to talk about mental health, entrepreneurship, all those wonderful things. She's the owner of B2 Wellness Suites, Body Well, and a partner in Nashville Fit Magazine. Welcome, Vanessa Hampton.
Hi. I'm here.
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
That was really difficult because my nasal. So getting that all out, it was like,
yeah.
I'm like out of breath now.
You can breathe now.
Yeah, everybody let me relax for a second.
Take a minute.
Oof, it's the ice outside. Anyways, Vanessa, it's so good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Yes, ma'am. So how I know Vanessa, real quick, backstory. Well, we kind of connected more ways than one, essentially. But I met her. I've known Terry with Nashville Fit for a long time. Mm-hmm. He's been on my show a couple times. I've been on their Nashville Fit show, and I've always thought extremely highly of Terry. Amazing individual.
Good dude.
And so I don't know. I wanted to talk about collaboration efforts, how we could work together, and not trying to give people too much, but and I'd met you prior.
Yes.
Several months ago, just briefly, and I had a small discussion, and then I saw you a couple weeks ago. And here you are.
Here I am.
I'm so glad to have you. So
Thank you.
This is amazing. Vanessa, what does life look like for you today?
Crazy, chaotic.
Yeah? Like what season are you in, you think? It's crazy, chaotic season?
I am in a season of intense personal and professional growth. It's been like that for this whole last year has been a big journey. The growth part of it professionally has been going on for a couple years. I don't sit still very well, so I tend to once I've conquered something or it starts to settle into a place of comfortable, I decide to expand that and push myself to something else uncomfortable. So professional growth has been going on and is in a totally different place now with meeting Terry last year and all the things that we're doing together. And then
when did you jump on board with Nashville Fit?
So Terry actually, we met through, I was working with Magic Fit, which is a division of Magic Sports. And Terry has known the owner of that, Joe, for a long time. And I met Terry through him, through something else we were doing. And when he found out that I owned B2 Wellness Suites, he was like, oh, I know about that. So he said, we need to talk. And about 3 days later, he moved himself into my conference room at B2.
That crazy?
It was that quick. So that's how we met. And there was just instant kismet or whatever you want to call it, just an instant bonding of he's my people. And
for sure.
I was like, we're going to be best friends and you just don't know it yet.
Alignment.
Yeah. So we both knew, we both felt it. We talked openly about like, I don't know why you're supposed to be here. I don't know what we're supposed to be doing together, but we're supposed to be doing something together. Yeah. So it started with that conversation and we quickly became extremely good friends and realized how much we have in common and how deep conversations we have and how our worlds align professionally with fitness and wellness and how we approach things in our whole foundational pieces.
So cool.
Yeah. So that was probably in, I think he moved in right at the 1st of April or the end of March into B2.
It's a sweet setup too.
Yeah.
Y'all only like a few minutes from me. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. So we actually, we started that then, and then it feels like we've known each other forever, but we started sharing an office. We combined offices.
Cool.
We still have the podcast studio over there, but we have our office that you were in too. We started sharing an office. We called it the Collaboration Hub. Yeah. Probably 4 months ago, which it feels like much longer, but yeah.
I love it. No, and it got me by surprise. I was like, wait, I didn't know you were a partner, so I thought it was really cool. And I think you're awesome. So it was really cool to see you there, part of that. So again, last year is a lot of changes professionally, but it seems that you were kind of inching towards that, like the internal work was the most significant.
Yeah, the personal growth that has come with that. I think meeting Terry was pivotal for me personally because we started having we just connect on such a deep level. It started making me realize that I was very comfortable. I am all about growth. I always have been. I always strive to be better in small ways, in big ways, in all the things. But it made me realize, I think probably that I had been focused so much on the professional growth that I had stopped looking internally as much. And so I think it made me realize that some of the things, like with my marriage, we were, my husband is amazing, but we were complacent in some things, and our dynamic had shifted to a place of we're here, but we're not doing this great right now.
Can happen easily.
It can. If you're not paying attention, you can't just depend on that to just grow itself or sustain itself. Yeah. You have to put intention in that. And so it was one of those things where we started going to counseling. I'm open about that because we wanted to be better. Both of us were like, we've got to figure out how to do this better. Yeah. And so we weren't, it's kind of one of those things, you make the decision and you're going, is this something, are we going in a bad direction? Do we have to do this because of that? Because neither one of us we had never done that together. And I'd been to counseling like once for something a couple of years ago. But that to say, it was really great because we both showed up with the intention of, what do we do?
Improving.
How do we do this better? So even the first couple of sessions in, that was huge.
Yeah.
But it also led to the realization I was married to an alcoholic I was with him for 9 years. And apparently you can't be in a situation that is, that is traumatic to that extent and just deal with it you can't just bury it and not have patterns that you develop and things that you,
like triggers and stuff.
Triggers and things, the way that you respond to things. You don't realize how much that's layered. I could look at somebody else and go, oh, that's probably, if you think about that, that's probably coming from there. And maybe that's why you're responding. But myself, I don't have problems, So
I'm good to go.
It was very eye-opening in making me start to explore deeper. My personality is you just duck your head and do. If something is hard, you just do it. You push through it. There's no, and I'm all about, with other people, I'm all about trying to help them figure out where their emotional place is coming from. And I'm hyper aware emotionally of me. I just didn't think there was anything wrong. And maybe there wasn't something wrong, but there's ways that there's things I need to deal with and need to accept. And I always say my husband, if he's the dramatic one, he's like outwardly emotional. He has the big feelings on the outside. I have the really big feelings on the inside.
Same dynamic as my wife and I.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So that is funny. And I think Terry as well. But that's where we were having issues, because I think I don't tend to speak what I need or speak what's going on. I tend to just not understand why he's not seeing what I'm feeling.
And like, if he's like me, he wants to work on things right away.
Absolutely.
My wife needs a little space.
I need space.
And that's really hard for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And because what can happen in that space? Are you drifting away?
That's exactly how he is.
But it's understanding that and with one another. And I wanted to say, not to interrupt.
No.
Healthy couples, healthy marriages do counseling. Like my wife and I, we haven't yet, but we thought, we'll probably do it at some point for sure.
Well, it was one of those things when
it's a mirror.
When we would butt heads, it would be almost like a threat. Well, we need to go to counseling. But as soon as we got past that moment, and we don't butt heads all that often.
Yeah.
But when we get past that moment, it was like you just, we're fine. But in meeting Terry and having those deeper conversations, I'm like, something is missing here in me, because I'm not taking these opportunities to explore. I'm not being able to speak freely by my own doing about what is going on and even realizing what is going on. So we've been going for a while now, and it is extremely valuable. And we're to the place, there's so many different things. We go in there thinking that we don't have anything really to talk about, and there's always something to talk about.
Heck yeah.
So that's been really good on the personal front. That has led to a lot of self-exploration, which I'm just scratching the surface of. There's a lot more that I need to deal with, and I'm realizing that with the emotions that are coming out that I'm not used to. For me, but it's really improved our relationship and taken it to a whole different level from where we were, that we didn't even know.
That's amazing.
That could be better.
That makes me so happy to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I also had an incident, and I believe everything happens with the timing and the way that it's supposed to, but we also had an incident at B2 with a tenant that had a severe mental health crisis. And that was back in October. And that was layered with a lot of professional insecurities, professional fears of, as an entrepreneur, you're always worried about the house of cards falling. Yeah. It's always in the back of your mind of, you're moving forward and everything's good. And then something happens to where you're thinking,
dominoes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the reality is that's not likely.
Yeah.
but that's how you feel because you're trying so hard and you're doing so many things to make everything good. But this was that raised that, and it was layered with personal fears that I didn't realize were still there from my background, from my history of feeling unsafe in where I was, and I haven't felt that feeling in a really long time. Didn't want to feel that ever again. So that happened in October, and then and I'm going to try to make this through this. Breathe. My brother passed away last month.
Yeah.
So, yeah, lots of personal things, trying to deal with those.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry for your loss.
thank you.
I know he was, I didn't know him that well. I met him a couple times, always pleasant.
Yeah.
You know, every time we shook hands. I have a friend of mine, actually, that this is his building. Well, these offices, was really close with him.
Yeah.
He seemed to be very loved.
He was very loved, very well known in the fitness wellness community. And it has hit really hard on a lot of different levels. It also is something that we can talk about too, but I'm all about mental health and about stress and anxiety and the things that go along with that. And he was an entrepreneur, and the stress and anxiety that he experienced, it's just something that I'm even more passionate about. Entrepreneurs, and especially everybody, but entrepreneurs especially, the pressure that we put on ourselves and what's really important. And at the end of the day, does it really matter? The things that we take to be so important. So yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot that I've got to work through.
Yeah, I'd like to dive into some of that stuff too. And that's so recent too. You know what I'm saying?
Very recent.
It's a healing, it's going to be a little bit of a journey, right?
Yeah, for sure. But just like we were talking before we started recording, I think, again, everything, you take it and you can learn from it and try to help and grow and all of that. And that's the part that I'm just starting to figure out what impact I can have based on that. So.
Yeah. When you can find the gold in those kinds of situations, that's when you're, I don't know, that brings you to a whole nother level of understanding, right?
Yeah.
Obviously all my love and fortitude your way, and your family's going through it, but y'all will overcome.
Yep.
And it's interesting you talked about that before we dive into the rest of your, we're going to take it back.
Yeah.
But I did want to say, I was talking to you about off camera about that pressure thing. I mean, the year before, so 2024, my blood pressure was so high. Like I had to drive myself to the VA, and it was like 240, 50, something like that. It was so high, and like my nose is bleeding and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like a healthy guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the pressure I put myself, like, it's like Joe, man, like you can be as healthy as you want, but like you're going to push yourself to death.
The hard part is when you are front and center in a community, or you're a leader, especially, everybody looks to you and thinks that you've got it together. You're the strongest person they see. There's so much that we put that pressure on, but that we don't allow other people to see because we have this expectation of ourselves, and other people have that expectation, and you want to meet it. And so I think the point that I'm trying to make is, and I think about this a lot, is we are humans at the end of the day. And I think that we need to be open about that, that yes, we can be leaders and people can come to us and lean on us and we can be that pillar and that rock, but we have to take care of ourselves too.
Yeah.
That we have to. And I don't know how to do that well.
Yeah.
I can sit here and talk about it all day long, but it's still something that I'm going to be trying to figure out for a very long time.
Since you say that, I'm going to get you connected with somebody I think that'd be extremely helpful.
Okay.
That's been life-changing for me. I really like where you're at as far as like helping entrepreneurs specifically. I mean, obviously wellness, mental health for everybody, but the entrepreneur space, it is, something we connect on, and you realize like that self pressure is probably the most intense thing.
Yeah.
But I really like where we're going with that. Vanessa, let's take it back.
Okay.
Let's go back to the history of Vanessa. All right. Where do you hail from? Tell us a little bit about your childhood, your upbringing, influences there, family life, stuff like that led you to where you're at today.
Okay. So my extended family is from Tennessee. I moved with my mom and my stepdad and my younger brother to Virginia when I was in second grade, I think. And I was there through high school.
What part of Virginia?
Just outside of Richmond.
Okay.
A place called Chesterfield.
Okay.
So I very, very shy in high school, middle school, all the things. And a journey with my weight, very insecure. My weight would fluctuate a little bit. I was made fun of as a kid. That all of that influences who I am now. But yeah, to the point where I was borderline eating disorder going into high school from trying to take control of that and not have that feeling. So after high school, literally the week after high school, I got pregnant.
Dang.
Yeah. I was always the good girl in high school, but I had a boyfriend my senior year who is amazing to this day. I love him dearly. But pregnant right out of high school, and I would not recommend that, but I don't regret any of that.
Yeah.
My son is amazing. He's almost 33 now. So I was married for 2 years to his dad. We were just too young, just too young.
Yeah.
So then I was single for 5 years. I was working in finance. I got a job. We moved back here after my son was born. I moved back here because I could get a job. If I had enough family, I could get a decent job. My husband and I at the time were working at Arby's. So,
nice.
Arby's with a brand new baby, and it was not living the dream.
Yeah, talk about a grind. Yeah.
Exactly. So we moved back here, and I quickly got a job in finance. My aunt worked for J.C. Bradford here in Nashville, and so I started out in operations there, and my personality with my business really started showing, because as soon as I would conquer something, I was looking for something else. And
yes,
I stayed there, but I was trying to get all the certifications I could, all the things. So that started my career in finance, and I was single for about 5 years before I met my second husband. And I don't like saying that this is my third marriage. It sounds like anyways. But that was, I got married the second time because I was in a place where I was tired of being a single mom. I felt like his dad had moved and was going through his own personal journey. He had moved back to Virginia. And, so I felt like I was failing because I didn't have that male influence for him.
Yeah.
I was tired of being alone, in a bad place, I would say. So probably not making the best decisions with that relationship. But I was with him for 9 years, and it was progressively toxic. Not a good, and I go into this, it's one of those, I talk about the relationship because I want to be respectful to him.
Yeah, of course.
But it was, I don't go into a lot of details, but it was emotionally difficult, and it was turning to physically abusive. And when that happened, that was when it woke me up of, this is not where I need to be. And to him, I hope that he has gotten to a better place. But I finally got out of that which it was extremely difficult to make that decision to leave because, yet once again, I didn't want to be the person that had been married twice and failed. I didn't want to be the person that didn't have that role model for my son. Yeah. So that was really difficult to get to that place. But when I finally did, I made up my mind, and that tends to be my personality. It may take me a little while to get there, but once I make up my mind, there's really not any turning back.
Yep.
So I left that relationship.
The space you live or work in sets the tone for how you feel and how you show up to the world. If it's dull, worn, or just good enough, you'll feel it every single day. Fresh Coat Surfaces in Murfreesboro, Tennessee doesn't do good enough. They transform homes and businesses with craftsmanship that you can see, quality you can feel, and pride that lasts long after the job is done. From bold statement walls that make you proud to walk in the room, to flawless exterior finishes that turn heads when people pull up, they understand the details that matter. And in the Relentless Pursuit, the details are everything. Whether you're building a business, raising a family, or you just want a space that inspires you, Fresh Coat Surfaces brings that vision to life and makes it last. Fresh Coat Surfaces. Paint your world with purpose, one coat at a time. My wife will tell you though, like I'm like extremely hygienic. So like things like this, I'm like, people think I'm disgusting, you know? Anyways, you were talking about that situation and what that all, you know, what you went through in that relationship and finally cutting that cord. I did want to ask, what do you think that season right there taught you?
Oh, so many things.
Yeah.
I spent the next year every weekend in my apartment just bawling my eyes out, trying to heal and figure out how to be better, and refusing to, I wouldn't date or anything like that because I knew that I had a lot of work to do on myself. At the same time, when I blew it up, I blew it up. I left finance. I had a 19-year career in finance at that point and discovered personal training because I started in the gym. That was one of the things that helped me find the strength to leave that relationship because I started taking control. I believe that when you start in the gym and you start, just for me, physically picking up weights and feeling like I had control of something that I had not had control of anything for so long, it gave me the strength to know, okay, I can do this. So I discovered personal training. I discovered fitness through that. And when I realized that I had value to bring as a trainer, my brother was my original trainer.
Okay, cool.
My older brother, he I always say he raised me in fitness. He taught me what I was made of through that. And so when I found that, it gave me the strength to leave, but it also gave me a passion for being able to help make others' journeys that much easier.
Yeah, for sure.
I felt like I had, because I could relate to people, and I had been on both sides of it, that I had value to offer there. So I never intended to be a personal trainer full time. I was going early in the morning before I would go to the office and train a couple of clients, and then I would come back after the office and train more clients while I was also doing my own workouts and training for bodybuilding shows. I went all in 100%. We go from being overweight and insecure to, okay, I'm going to go prance around on a stage in a bikini with high heels.
Major shift.
And that tends to be how I go. But so I was doing all of that. And I remember I left the gym, from training clients at 5 a.m. one morning, and I'm driving in my car. I still remember the exact moment. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to do this anymore, because it was like a joy kill going to the office. I had felt something that I had never felt before when I was training clients and being able to help people in that way. And that was the pivot for me. That was the turning point for me. So I started preparing for about 9 months to leave finance and pursue personal training. Still wasn't going to do it full time. I got a job at a physical therapy clinic because it's a whole nother story about problems with my back and how I got into physical therapy and met the PT that helped me. Anyway, so I think in summary, what that time taught me was everything. It taught me that I can do hard shit.
Yeah.
It taught me that I do have control. I can take control of my situation. To this day, I don't even have to think about it anymore, but it teaches me that if something gets hard, it doesn't mean I can't do it.
100%.
I don't just decide that I'm going to throw my hands up. If I can decide to do all of that on so many levels, then I can do hard things. But it also taught me boundaries. I'm very compassionate about people, but I'm also very specific about boundaries for myself too. It doesn't mean it's not uncomfortable. It doesn't mean it's not difficult. But it taught me all of that, and it taught me how to, I like to say, Terry and I've talked about superpowers. We joke about our superpowers. And one of my superpowers is being able to relate to people and be direct and being open about what I want to say without being offensive to them. And so I think a lot of that came from that situation of being able to really relate to people and be compassionate about where they're at in life.
Yeah. And it goes back to the boundaries. I mean, that's something so many people don't understand, especially you see it in families, you know, like there's none. I mean, I know so many people, and I hear some situations, I've been through situations, and it's like, dude, and so boundaries are uncomfortable on all sides, but they're so necessary.
So necessary
for you to actually grow. And like, I think generationally, like if you set a boundary in a place that's been none for years and decades, it changes the whole trajectory of the future.
For sure.
You know, for your family and whatnot.
Well, and for my son, I mean, he was in high school when I made the decision to leave that relationship. And for him for me to take control of my eating, for me to start working out, for me to just the whole thing was taking control in all levels of my life.
Yeah.
That was hugely impactful for him because it wasn't about the situation that I had been in. It was about, you can change your situation. You can take control of this. You can set boundaries for yourself, and all of that. I didn't have to say a word. And I didn't see it during in the moment, but I see it so much now. We talk about it. He's an adult with, I have a grandson now, but he's an adult with a family and all of that. Thank you. So he sees that, and that's where it's at. When you can make that impact on your child, it doesn't matter what you've been through or that you haven't lived a perfect life. That you're able to teach them and show them that through that journey.
Kids don't really listen to what you say. They replicate what you do, right?
Absolutely.
It's your actions all day. You know, that's why words don't really mean a whole lot. But obviously you tell them to do things, but it's, are you actually leading by that example of what you're saying too? You know, and those things it hits them a lot differently, and they apply it, and you see that eventually you're like, yes. And for you, it's like, I'm so glad I made that decision because I taught them so much through that.
Right.
Yeah. And would you say like that time period, like right before calling it alpha, was like rock bottom for you?
Oh yeah.
What would you say, like inside of you, what changed first?
I think because my subconscious knew that I needed to take control of something, because it was that I use this a lot when I'm talking to people, because this is what it's all about for me. I see it in everybody that I work with, everything that I do. It's all about that control. Everybody's responses and reactions is are you responding that way because you don't feel in control of where you're at right in this moment? And so I think for me, I knew that I needed to take control of something because I reached the point where somebody else having full control of how I felt every day, and how I was responding and how I was reacting and all of that was not okay with me.
Yeah.
So that internal change I don't know that I even consciously thought too much about it, but I changed my eating. And I guess, because I've never thought about this before, but I guess with my eating, even back to what I said, that's how I took control in middle school when I didn't feel in control. I've never put this together before, but that's how I took control then, was when I was tired of people making fun of me, and I was tired of feeling that level of insecurity. That was my first step in changing. Like, I just stopped eating in middle school.
Yeah.
but in that situation, it was, I'm going to take control of my eating. And that's what I did. And I did it exactly wrong. It was, but it was me. It was me making those decisions. So once I got that feeling of, oh, I can control something,
I'm
then
capable.
It started to open up the doors of, that's when the gym, I can have more control through fitness, through being in the gym. So that's where it started internally.
Awesome. It is. And it's cool that you're like, one, came to that realization, kind of connect those dots. You're going to walk away like, oh, it makes sense. Yeah.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
And side note, I am very strict about, not strict. I am very intentional about my food. That is one thing that is very, and again, haven't connected this through, and haven't put the whole through line until just now, but that's one thing that's extremely important to me. Not, we talk about doing the right things as a fitness professional, or how to be a healthy person and all of that. For me, I always know what I'm going to be eating next. I always know before I walk out the door what I'm going to be, that preparation and that intention. And even when I go somewhere and having that, if I make the decision, I'm going to have pizza or whatever, it's a very intentional decision. So
no,
I've never put that together, but
now you're aware of it.
Now I'm aware.
That's really cool. And you highlighted a couple things, just talking about how, we'll probably dive into this a little later, but talking about how, like, all these things that happen in your life, different situations affect so much of your decisions as an adult. I talked about what happened to me as a kid at 8, and then fast forward to now, working on it, the beginning of last year, like, oh my gosh, like, that's where my anger issues stem from. That's why I got to have the last word. That's why I got to defend myself, because it was different at that time. And it was just so, like, and I'm still working through it, because that's like, almost 30 years of young Joe controlling a lot of my reactions, and so, like, walking them back through is the journey, right? And just because you become aware of it doesn't fix things. You got to work.
Yeah.
And that's where some real work starts. And I love thinking about that, because most people, I'd say everybody, their decisions and their reactions to things all stem from stuff throughout their childhood and their upbringing, right?
How you've adapted.
Yeah. And how you've adapted. And some for better, some for worse, but you learn about it. And I also appreciate you, answering the call, getting into the training. You had that fire light up, that you saw that spark, and there's something to be said about going for it, because you were very comfortable in a 19-year career.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite quotes, something I put on a shirt a long time ago, but it's comfort is a slow death. And I always think of that. And, you were comfortable, but you also realized, like, it wasn't doing you any good. It wasn't stoking that fire.
I remember riding down the road. Again, usually these epiphanies come in my car, but I remember driving down the road when I was in my previous marriage, when I was working in finance, before I ever even thought about fitness or any of that. I remember driving down the road one day and thinking, is this it? Is this what happy is? Because you always hear about happy, but very vividly remember, is this what happy is? And I didn't have an answer to that. And when I found fitness and felt that feeling, it was, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
I love that. And that's, hopefully people listening, because how many people don't answer that? They hear that, they know what stokes it, but they're like, oh, hell no. Like, I'd ruin everything. They get in their head.
Yep.
And then you get down the road and it's like, damn it, I should have taken a chance, And I've met so many people that are older that, say things like that.
Yeah.
Tell me, they're like, yeah, I wish I would have done this. And I'm like, damn, I want to get to the end not wishing,
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%.
I don't want to wish about a bunch of shit I didn't do.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like, and for, you know, even if some of these things I, you know, now look at and it maybe takes me in a direction I don't intend for it to go, it's okay because I'm going to learn from it.
Yeah.
But at least I gave it a shot, you know? And so like, I don't know. I appreciate that about you because
I think you're giving me all kinds of
yeah, go for it.
putting
Take off.
connecting the dots today. But I think that's why everything that I do, I am driven by what I feel inside. If it doesn't feel right to me, whether it's a everyday thing or a bigger business decision or something that I'm doing personally, if it doesn't feel right, then I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I feel it, even if I can't put all the reason to
Yes.
it or put all the pieces in place, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that exactly that moment of, is this happy? And being able to very distinctly feel that the first time that I felt it, I think that's why I let that drive me and why I trust it so much, is because I understand that. Again, you're helping me connect all these dots here.
I love it. No, it's cool. It's really cool to see those thoughts spark
Yeah.
in your mind too. So I get to see it up front, guys. Check that out. No, but yeah. So as we move forward, now you're at a place of, you talked about setting boundaries and stuff like that. You learned so much through that process. I'm wondering, like, no, so you're in a place after that of rebuilding though. You're getting back into you're getting into the gym, like intensely, you're competing, all this stuff, you're working towards all that. But then you talked about when you're a child and the eating disorders and stuff. So there's like some self-worth there.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you, I guess, how did you hold self-worth at this new season of your life?
I was getting a lot.
Or build it, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I was getting a lot of that from the people that I was helping, and I still get it from that. So if I'm able to bring value to somebody else and help them figure some things out and make their life a little bit easier, then that's what lifts me up. That's what I feel like in so many ways that I was put on this earth to do.
Feel you there.
Yeah. So that, coming from that place, and then it's almost a fake it till you make it kind of thing. One of the things that I've talked about a lot is I used to wake up every morning when I was in that place of being so highly insecure. For 35 years, it was that place. But I would wake up every morning and I would start beating myself up mentally about what I had or had not done the day before. What did I fail at? What did I do? And most of the time it was failures. And I was brutal to myself. Like I would never be that to anybody else. And so changing that language in my head was super important. Yeah. And so I started through personal training. It was really easy for me to cheer other people on and go lift them up. And so I started catching myself doing that for my own self. When I was in the gym, again, when I'm throwing weights around or trying to encourage myself, I like to push a little too hard in the gym sometimes. I've gotten better about it, but I tend to go all out. And so and I did CrossFit for a long time. And one of the things that I loved about CrossFit was being able to push myself really, really hard. Yeah. And so it's that language in my head of, oh, you do have 2 more reps. Oh, you can make it through that. Mm-hmm. Oh, you can lift that weight. So that becoming my own cheerleader naturally, the same way that I was cheering on other people, that's how I started to recognize what I was worth and what I was capable of.
You're hitting me with a lot of this, you know, because you've been through a lot of these things as well. And still, it's like always growing, right? And I think about that with what you said, you know, that self-worth, like seeing how you impact others or seeing the impact in them, their growth, like that does so much for you. Yeah. But then that self-criticism is so detrimental. And it's like, my wife has told me this. She's like, you're so hard on yourself and nobody else. And yeah, I wrote about this. It's like, I can show compassion to anybody else.
Yep. It's easy.
But myself, I hold to this impossible standard. Like you get I'm not cutting you any slack, Joe. And it is like a tough place to be because you're like, how am I able to do this for complete strangers, but not the person that like You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The person within. And it's
Yeah.
just, it takes a lot of work.
It's still it is easier now, even physically. I'm highly, I shouldn't say it's a lot better now, but insecure about my body. Yeah. Even when I was down to a size 2 when I was training for bodybuilding shows.
I'm very insecure too about that. I like it.
Yeah. I remember the day before a show when I did 5 shows in a year and a half. Way too many. Don't do that. It's not healthy. But I was terrified to stop because your body it changes so fast and you get to a place so quickly that your brain doesn't really have time to catch up. I was terrified to stop because I didn't want to lose that.
Yeah.
So, but the day before a show when I am cut, I'm dehydrated, I am as muscular as I'm going to be in appearance, and trying on a pair of shorts in Lululemon and bawling my eyes out because I felt fat. And that is insane. And it's one of those things that I get angry at myself for. I shouldn't say angry. It makes me very sad for that person who went through that. So yeah,
because a lot of people put their whole identity into that.
Yes.
And that's a scary thing too, because it's like you do run into those places, and like body dysmorphia is a real thing.
Yeah. And I mean, that's where I was going with that. I almost forgot where I was going with that, but I still to this day, and a lot of women can probably relate to this. I don't know how men do this, but to this day, I get ready to get in the shower and I'm turning sideways in the mirror to see how much my stomach's sticking out. And I tried, and I'm very conscious about doing that and how much importance I place on that. But that vision is how I'm going to feel about myself that day.
What's crazy is I do the same thing. Or I'll grab like my waist and I'm like, oh, it's just
how watering. Yeah, exactly. I still
you know?
have to have conversations with myself the same way that I would personal training clients of, you haven't gained 2 pounds overnight. If that 2 pounds of what you think is fat is not, that doesn't happen like that. It's water. If crazy. You have water weight today, in 2 days, it's probably going to drop off if you're doing certain things. And so I still have to have those conversations with myself, even this far along in the journey.
It's so fascinating, you know, talking about that, because like, yeah, men do the same thing. Yeah. Like, and it's ridiculous because we're at a point where we're aware of it. Like we know we're in our head, but we're still doing the things that like beat us down. We're like, oh, you know, and it's like, get out of your head. It's this battle.
With you?
Yeah. And it's interesting you say that. And it reminds me, a friend and I were talking about, you know, body dysmorphia. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. It's like, it's good and bad because in a way it keeps you to a standard.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it also keeps you like
to a ridiculous standard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I got to be photo shoot or show ready at all times. And it's like, dude, no,
it's not realistic.
Yeah.
I just had a DEXA scan the other day, and it's the first have you had one of those done?
When I was at MTSU, we did the thing where you get in the water.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember what that one's called.
I forget what it's called. It's pretty cool. But
the DEXA is a very high technology scan. It's almost like an X-ray machine that you lay down, and it does, it's X-ray, MRI, whatever. But it does your whole body fat percentage, how much muscle, it down to each area of your body, that sort of thing.
Cool.
And it tells you more accurately what your body fat percentage is and all of that. And of course, the first thing I see is that number. And I'm just like, oh, but I'm still in, the only time I've ever focused on that was when I was training for shows and what that number should be. Yeah. And so I see it and I'm like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah.
Stupid.
You're like, who am I?
And then I look up the results versus other 51-year-old women of that DEXA scan, and mine is better than 93% of women my age.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, it can be better.
Yeah, you're like, I need to be in that 90. Yeah, right. A little bit higher than that.
It can be better.
You know, and it's crazy because you got to take into account your lifestyle too. And me, I'd be sitting there. I'm like, it might as well say 500% body fat, you know, Joe? God.
Exactly. And, that impossible standard that we were talking about.
And, you know, but shoot, what was I going to say? It just came and went. God, I was going to say something.
It was good too.
It was so good. It'll come back.
Okay.
Like we said, I don't know. It keeps you to a standard. It's good and bad. And it's that awareness too, but it's just, you see it like completely destroy people.
Well, and I think as trainers too, it adds to that standard because we're viewed in a certain way. So we don't feel like we have the luxury of letting our foot off the pedal at any point, you know?
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but it came back, the lifestyle thing.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to take into account, like, I'm an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. It's been a battle. Mm-hmm. I don't sleep as much as I should. I am an intentional husband and an intentional father. Yeah. You know, I have to lay with my daughter before bed. That's like, I make sure that I'm always doing that. And sometimes it takes longer, so I get less sleep, but you know, and then stress on top of that, And it's just all these things. Like, my lifestyle isn't somebody that's in their 20s that can get up and do this routine at 3 a.m. and then go to the gym for 2 hours every day and, you know, eat on point. I got to do as good as I can to fit my life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to show yourself some grace too. Like, not make excuses, but show yourself grace.
It's true. That's one of the things that has been an eye opener for me, menopausal and going through perimenopause and that 10-year experience to lead me where I'm at. And see a lot of women go through this, yet one of those other ways that I'm starting to pay it forward and trying to help ease the journey of some women that are going through that. But understanding that more is not better in any situation is something that I really have to constantly school myself on, because I do tend to be that 110% in person. So recovery is so huge, and seeing shockingly that when I allow myself recovery and do what I'm supposed to be doing for the reason of the cortisol levels, for the reason of my body already experiencing when I was in perimenopause, the inflammation and the battle that you go through with that, the changing hormones, understanding that, yes, you do need to take today off, or no, you do need to eat more. That's a big one for me that I really struggle with. And allowing that grace for that and taking a breath of, okay, you're going to be okay if you actually show your body some love here and not try to push more. So what you were saying of backing it off and allowing yourself grace in this moment over the last month, it has been extremely stressful for me. And so I am holding more water than I want to right now. I'm not don't feel as in control as I typically do with my eating, which we've already determined is very important to me. And so, yes, trying to allow myself that grace in this moment of, I know exactly why I feel like this right now. Yeah. Nobody else is going to notice, but I notice. Yep. And I know exactly why that is, but allowing myself to be okay with that for this moment. It's that same thing.
Spot on.
Yeah.
And it's talking about how, like, people always want to say, like, they're so easy to ditch on a relationship because we're not compatible. We have nothing in common. My wife is Christian and I'm pagan. Okay. I listen to black metal. She listens to indie pop or rock or whatever. You know, there's all these things that are very different about us. Like, on paper, we probably shouldn't be together, but she's my best friend.
Well, that's what I say too. I couldn't handle another me. I don't want another me. I need somebody that is complete opposite of me. But it also goes back to why we're in therapy and why it's so important to be intentional, because you can reach a place where, because you are so opposite, that if you're not paying attention, you can reach a place that it's not good.
That communication is the key right there, and that being intentional. Yeah, because I think those kind of relationships are the best ones. I mean, shit, this is the best relationship I've ever had in my life. Yeah. And I'm not, this is it for me. And but I could see where if we didn't communicate the way we did, and we didn't like maybe eventually get, we talked about it, like just go to counseling, just to maybe there's something that is repetitive.
Yep.
It's like, okay, we're obviously not coming to an understanding. Let's go talk to somebody about this, and just like had the mirror held up for both of us.
Well,
mediation, right?
One of the big things to come out of our communication was, because I am so internal and because he is so out here, when I would need that space that you were talking about, that your wife needs, when I would need that space, he didn't understand that space. And so he would perceive it as me shutting down.
Same.
And then he wasn't getting what he needed because he thought I was shutting down on him. So he would shut me out. And so we were moving this way when there just wasn't an understanding of what was happening. So yeah.
And that would be like quiet resentment, but
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's cool though. Like, you're honest about that. I mean, I'm not going to listen to anybody that says, oh, my relationship's perfect. It's all right. No. Yeah. Okay.
You can't live with somebody and have a perfect relationship.
Yeah.
There's always going to be things, always.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's just like me, I've got a pretty, specific relationship with God. Right. But I'm all, that's not perfect either.
Mm-hmm.
It's constant growth. And I look at it and I talk to God. I'm like, trying to come to deeper the gods, and I'm just like kind of trying to come to this understanding. And there is like almost this like butting heads in a way.
Yeah.
I know that's not my place, but it forces me to grow that way.
No, and that's the whole thing. I don't talk about my spiritual journey really much at all. But that's another thing with Terry and I meeting. I mean, the man's covered in biblical tattoos.
Yeah.
And for it to be, I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, and I'm not Seventh-day Adventist. There's a lot to that I don't, that's probably a whole nother thing that I need to explore.
Yeah. another episode.
Yeah, exactly. But that is one of the things over the years that I have, it's been back here of, I need to work on my relationship with God. I want that. I long for that. I'm not intentional about it right now.
Yeah.
And so for him to come into my life and it be like in your face, and there's several things that have happened with death, and even the death of my pet that I had for a long time. And there's a lot of things. There's a lot of work that I have to do on that level too.
There's a book I started listening to this morning. It was suggested to me yesterday. And oh my God, because it's a lot of the stuff I write about spiritually. I mean, I'm very rigid on like my, ritual with my brothers and, the old gods and stuff, because that's this part of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of like my blood that goes back thousands of years, and something I'll never stray away from. But I'm also like, it's so much more broad, and it's hard to get people to understand, especially if you've lived with one understanding your entire life. Right. Yeah. And anyways, but this book really is just like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is everything I talk about. So I'm super amped up. I'm only like 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
But it's called Conversations with God.
Okay.
Check it out.
Okay.
I'll send you that and, that contact info.
Yeah,
but those are two things that'll you could just listen to, and it's read real well. And it's just like, wow. I mean, it's mind blowing, and you may gain something powerful from it. So anyways. God, I'm loving this conversation. We should just hang out all day.
I know.
Terry, I'm partnering with y'all too.
Sorry, buddy.
So we were talking about self-worth, and we dove deep into that, all those different things in that season of your life and all the changes, taking on a new career, so on and so forth. What do you think your biggest boundary lesson was or has been from that time in your life? And what is something that you refuse to tolerate now?
Wow, that's a tough question.
Mm.
I've never thought intentionally about putting words to those boundaries. I think the biggest thing, when somebody comes at me about something, I think the biggest thing is I'm able to now very confidently say, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. And I try not to function out of obligation or function because that's what's expected of me. It's only me that places those expectations on myself. I can be compassionate with other people. I can be supportive and lift other people up, but not to my own detriment. And that was what I lived for so long, as I would do things because I was trying to please somebody else or for somebody else. But my mantra is I'm not going to give to my own detriment.
Yeah.
And I still have to stop myself sometimes, but that's probably the biggest boundary to come out of that.
100%. There's two things, like, you're saying that, like, I think to remove is guilt and shame, because those things play a factor in a lot of that, right? So don't feel guilty or don't feel shame for like setting those boundaries, right?
I would say that is definitely the biggest boundary to come out of that, because my husband he's God bless him, he does a lot of things out of guilt, especially that family guilt over the years. And he's gotten so much better about it because he sees me not doing that and being willing to say, no, I'm not doing that out of guilt. And so that's one thing we talk about a lot. I'll go, what's your motivation with that? Is it because you really want to do that, or that you think it's right, or because you feel guilty?
Yeah.
And then let's make a decision.
Man, yeah, I've had to learn. That's been a tough lesson of mine as well for over the past couple of years. So yeah, that's good though. Again, like your actions are showing, and they're influencing him in that way too.
Yeah,
that's really cool. So where we're at in your journey, kind of moving forward. So your personal training, you end up taking that on full time. You're training and all this stuff. So what does it look like now? Because you're kind of moving into more of an like becoming a trainer, moving into more of an entrepreneurial space, and obviously this evolved a lot since then. So yeah, just kind of take us along that road.
Yeah. So I started as a personal trainer. Never wanted to own a gym or anything like that because of that overhead. I was always scared of that overhead, changing that. And so I started training in community specifically, and it got so busy. I just kept I was doing what I loved. So with no intention of growing or building or anything like that, just knew I was supposed to be doing that. And started having to consider turning people away because I didn't have any more time in the day to train people. And that was the only reason that I decided to bring on another trainer, because I couldn't stomach telling people I couldn't help them.
Yeah.
So that's how my team started building. And then once I figured those pieces out of bringing people on, and this happens about every 3 or 4 years, I've come to discover with myself, if I get to a place where, oh, well, this is pretty easy. Well, what can I do? How can I challenge myself? It's not even a conscious thing. It just happens. But I decided that I felt like something was missing. I wanted to be doing more than just personal training. And so I went back to massage school. Or went to school for massage. And while I was still building my business with training, I kept sending people for massage. So I decided to do that and put myself through night school. And then not knowing exactly what I was going to do with it, but just knowing that was part of the piece.
Yeah.
And so after I graduated massage school in 2020, going through massage school during COVID was interesting, but I opened up.
Oh, so you're going through massage? Yeah.
Yeah, I was halfway through when that happened.
Gosh.
Yeah. And fortunately, I'd gotten way ahead on my clinical hours and all that. But it also worked in my favor because renting offices was really cheap at that time. So I opened both an office in Mount Juliet and in Brentwood. I was doing all virtual training for a long time with my team, because I worked out of a 55 plus community. So that was a big deal of not being in the community. So I opened those offices and started building a team of therapists. And that's my original business, Bodywell. Through having to look for office space and I originally rented in a Regis, where it's a co-working space.
Yeah.
So working with IT people and title companies and things like that.
Tax people.
Nothing that served. I craved to be around other wellness professionals. And so I got an opportunity to work with a few others, and decided at that point that there had to be a better way of functioning when you are a wellness professional, because most places require 5,000 square feet with a 5-year contract or something like that, which is not appropriate for most small business wellness professionals. We just don't need that much space. And that the vision for a space that was similar to like a Sola salons for hair professionals, but for wellness, was where the vision came from for B2 Wellness Suites.
Super cool.
So I got frustrated with the place that I was at that time.
Do you still have the massage? You still have the...
I do.
Okay. How many therapists do you got under you?
So I have 4 personal trainers, because I still do personal training, not myself, but I still have training. And I now run the fitness and wellness program for that one community that I talked about. And then I just took on a contract for another community through this business. So I have 4 or 5 trainers. It's expanding quickly.
Super cool.
And then I have 3 other massage therapists that work for me. And I still do a couple of massages here and there myself.
Nice.
So 2 offices, and and then we do corporate things for fitness and wellness too.
Good stuff.
So in May of 24, I opened B2 Wellness Suites. I decided to take the leap and went head first in and opened a community for office solutions for small business wellness professionals. So we have expanded rapidly. The first spot was in May of 2024. I expanded in October of 2024, again in January of 2025 in the Brentwood location, opened Mount Juliet location, which is where my other Bodywell office was at the time, in April of last year. And then literally last week expanded in Mount Juliet.
Nice.
Yeah. I say last week. We're still in the process of moving as of yesterday too.
Heck yeah. So how many offices total?
So in Brentwood, we have right at 40 offices with about 50 plus wellness professionals, because we do share space and we do day rentals in that location, in both locations. And so we have everything from nurse practitioners to acupuncture, body work, you name it, we've got it in wellness. And then in Mount Juliet, we had 9 offices, smaller spot, and we just expanded to 18 offices, and we're going to have a quiet co-working space in the midst of that as well.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I love it. And the vision's just growing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, because of wellness, obviously a lot of these, I'd say most of these people work for themselves, right? Mm-hmm. They're technically just renting space from you, but it's all under one hub. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we're just, the whole premise of it is, it's, number one, the entrepreneurial journey is lonely.
Yeah.
So you're trying to figure all these things out by yourself. And if you are in a space where you don't have other like-minded professionals, it's just really hard. And so that's the first thing. But it also just makes sense, because people are coming in to get your help. They're going to need other things besides what you're just able to offer. So the collaboration and the referrals is huge in the community as well. Yeah.
It's, it makes me wonder, so because all these things like wellness overall and a lot of these professions are very like personal, very intimate experiences. So what's the vetting process like? Because for me personally, I'd be like, I'm making sure I'm bringing the right people in that aren't going to do something dumb, because that is a concern, right? I mean, as a personal trainer, I've seen it in personal training, and so, how does that go? Because I'm sure you'd want to be pretty like.
So it's a little bit different. With Bodywell, where I have independent contractors working for me, I'm responsible for them. I'm responsible for the services they're bringing. I'm responsible for the clients.
Yeah.
It does have to be different. I'm going through the interview process. I'm making sure that they're the integrity of what I need and who I'm servicing. With B2, these are professionals that are certified by their boards. So the health board, for the most part, they have their certifications, they have their background, but the business is on them.
Yeah.
So I'm a landlord. While I'm a different type of landlord for these people, because I do try to create the community I am there to support and lift them up, and try to help them the best that I can. I'm not curating the environment. If they have references and they have their backgrounds are clean, just like any other landlord that wants to have a professional space, that's how I function in the B2 space.
Okay.
It's been a challenge to walk that line, because when I employ people, I take it very seriously. I'm very invested in making sure that they're getting the income they need. I'm making sure that I'm confident that I can bring that for them. So it's been a little bit of a transition where there's only so much control I have over the people that are renting space from me. Yeah. So I can still keep that integrity and make sure that it's a good environment. And if I have a bad feeling about somebody, then I absolutely cannot bring them in there. It is my choice. But for the most part, if they have clean references, if they have, if they meet all of those qualifications, then they are just a tenant to me. I have to have boundaries there as far as what I put into that. So it's a fine balance.
Yeah, 100%. Well,
yeah,
interesting. Yeah, I'm just curious because it's a lot of people.
Well, the good thing too is most people that are pursuing having their own space, it's a different kind of mindset. So there's a lot of good people that come in there, and it's very rare that you have anybody that doesn't have. 99% of these people, when you're a service professional like that, you're doing it because you love it. Okay. You're doing it because you want to help people. Yeah. And that's what I experience every day with the people that are reaching out to me.
I love to hear it. Yeah. You're crushing it.
Yeah.
And your involvement with Nashville Fit Magazine, is Roy still involved?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. I was curious. I was like, what happened to Roy?
Yep. No, Roy's still there.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
I haven't seen him in forever.
Roy's got his business too, Barbell Voodoo, which is crushing it as well.
100%.
So,
I know he loves being a part of the expo.
Yeah. Yep.
It seems like that's his. I mean, everybody's baby, but he
and Terry
gets fired up about
the
that
expo, and they have built it and grown it so much.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So what is your contribution, I guess? I mean, it all plays a part. The way I'm looking at it, because you got y'all's office in B2 Wellness.
Yeah.
It's all tied in. I mean, I think it's just genius how you're choosing to expand as well, because it's all interconnected.
Yeah, that was one of the big ways that Terry and I bonded, is we're both about community. We're both about connecting. We're connectors, people collectors.
Yeah.
We, through our networks, because there's such an intimate connection between fitness and wellness, and we both approach things with both of those in mind. There's so much crossover. So you have basically Nashville Fit is the face and the voice of the fitness and wellness community in Nashville and beyond.
Yeah.
And Bodywell is the service of being able to staff and provide these communities with the staffing and the services, and we do corporate and all of that. And then B2 is kind of the home for the professionals. So you attack it from all different standpoints of being able to support fitness and wellness in Nashville in all those ways.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm so stoked. And I'm so stoked that now that I'm building a relationship with you and getting to know y'all more and seeing how we could possibly, help each other. I think we got a meeting this afternoon, don't we?
Is it today? Yeah, it is today.
I do.
Yep.
Yeah. Hope you're ready for it.
I'll be seeing you later.
Yeah, see you later on the join meet or whatever. Man, that's so awesome. And I just think it's really cool to hear your whole journey and where you began and how, you were in a career for 19 years and here you are sound like a serial entrepreneur pretty much. Just going hard. I love it. Is there anything else you want to take on in the entrepreneurial journey?
Oh my gosh.
You're just kind of taking it as it comes.
This expansion in Mount Juliet, if I'm being very honest, I was tired with, doing this by myself to this point, until I met Terry. I had no visions of expanding more with what I was doing because I couldn't do it by myself. Every time I expanded, every time I opened anything, it's a lot of work. And when you're trying to do everything from putting furniture together to figuring out how to market spaces and run your massage business and your personal training business and do all those things, it was about all of me at that point. And then I meet Terry, and everything changes
What
for
a
both
blessing.
of us.
Yeah.
Because we both were to the point where it's like, I don't know how much more I can take on myself, but together we can take on a lot more. So this expansion in Mount Juliet is only because of our partnership. I wouldn't have done it without that.
So damn cool.
So yeah.
You know, you talked about the, community, and when I started my brand, that was, I wanted a team.
Yeah.
So I just like grabbed the team,
Yeah.
I didn't really vet.
Mm-hmm.
But that was such a big thing to me, coming from playing sports and then being in the military, being in just the groups I have been with, like brotherhood and stuff. Like I've always loved that.
Yeah.
And so that was just such an important thing to me. And I know, obviously I've been rolling solo with all my work for the last little while. And that wasn't intentional. I wanted to have a team.
Mm-hmm.
And now, listening to you talk, though, it's like, I guess I could say I was a little bit naive about it going into it. Like I didn't even think things through. I wanted the team so bad that I didn't build a relationship with the team.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so that was a tough lesson, but it was a lesson that needed to be learned, because now I'm in this season of life where all these relationships I have around me it's all in alignment,
Mm-hmm.
and now I working with people and building a team of people that like, we're all going to thrive.
Yeah.
And we're on that same level of understanding. We've already built a relationship. We've connected. We've known each other. And so it's really cool to hear you guys talk about this, because that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
And with my vision and what I want to do, like I'm going to need partners, and
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it all myself. There's going to be a point where it's like, all right, this is way more ground than I can cover alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm getting there. So I don't know. I also look forward to that, and like kind of letting go of control and trusting somebody to be like, hey, I'm taking the reins on this, this, and this.
It's interesting because I never even thought about it before I met him.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, that's why I said that feeling of we're supposed to be doing something together. I don't know what it is, but we're going to figure it out. And then you have people that show up like you, like him, like other people that are like-minded, that we're not competitive. That's not why we do this. We do this because we love it and we're passionate about it, and there's so much to it. And when you find other people like that you can make it bigger, and we really are all better together, and we're going to have a huge impact together, there's power in that.
Heck yeah. I love this. So awesome. Y'all give me a lot of hope,
Yeah.
Just going to keep trucking forward.
Hey, just be careful. Be careful what you ask for. We take you under our wing and we're on our way.
Hey, let's do it. Let's do it. And we're all going to crush it. I already know it. So outside of that, it's awesome. Like I said, it's been awesome hearing your journey. And, we're at a point to like, okay, this is where you're at today. I want to cover a couple things, entrepreneur, you coming back around to like the mental health aspect for entrepreneurs. I could ask why they struggle mentally, and we kind of covered that, talking about that pressure. What do you think is something else that's very important to highlight there, though?
Well, I think that it's the blessing and curse, right? Like, I think that the reason that we put so much pressure on ourselves is also the same reason that we are in the position that we are.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you have to have both sides of that mentality. You have to have that ability to push yourself and put that pressure on yourself.
Such a tight line, though.
It is. And take that risk. You have to have all those pieces, but you also have to make sure that you are not doing it to your own detriment, that you aren't prioritizing those pieces over other things of self-care and your family and what really matters at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Does that money pressure or having that debt or whatever, how much priority does that take in your brain?
Mm-hmm.
How much do you feel out of control with those pieces? It goes back to control for me. So, I think that's the whole headspace thing. And having that ability to keep yourself in check and do those check-ins with yourself and have those other people that help you even sit and having these conversations of understanding you're not alone. And, oh, well, that's not as bad as I made it to be in my head, because they're going through this, or they have the same thing, or, kind of normalizing it. So,
yeah. Well, it goes back, and you see those changes. It goes back to like me getting, the lawsuit thing with the landlord. It's like, I don't know. It's weird because, a couple of years ago, it would have been, I would have reacted totally different.
Yeah.
But this time around, I'm like, dude, I stood up against it. It didn't work how I wanted to, but like, hey, I'm proud of myself for doing that. And this is part of my journey. This is just like another sign that I'm going to be leveling up. It's weird because it's almost delusional. I talked to my friend that's a musician. He's made it really far. He played for Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley. He's in a huge band out in Europe. And he's like, you have to have like this delusion that you're going to make it to that. Yeah. And I'm like, I get that in my own lane though. But like, yeah, you kind of have this insane like self-belief, but look at the people that are there.
That is what, for me, that instinct, that gut feeling, that it's a gut feeling, but it's not really just a gut feeling. It's that life experience layered in your gut that tells you, yeah, I know this is uncomfortable right now, or this doesn't feel good, or this is scary. But if I push through this, I know what it looks like on the other side.
100%.
It's that self-trust of understanding yourself and moving in the right direction.
I talk about, I talk about going through storms and like putting yourself in storms. And every time that storm passes, you realize you're still standing.
My husband likes to say, you can't crawl out of the ditch until you put yourself in the ditch.
Yes.
So,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
I might use that as the title for something. So just let him know. I'll try to shout him out. I have a salon below me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a salon down there, and it's so funny because I'll just be sitting here on any normal day.
There goes the blow dryer.
No, you won't hear that, but I'll hear like at least twice a day. I'll hear, "Oh my God." Like there's some gossip going on. I just kind of want to go down there and get in on it. Like, what did they do?
Tell me.
Tell me. You just like throw my fingers out. Like, anyways, it's just so funny. All right. Final segment.
Okay.
We got off a really good point. We're diving into the mental health, entrepreneurship stuff. And I was going to ask you, I was asking about anxiety. And I feel like that's like maybe pretty common.
Yeah. I think defining that is important. It has been for me because I never have thought about myself as an anxious person. I don't think I actually realized, I could look at the textbook definition of anxiety, but I don't think I actually realized that I would carry anxiety. So I think defining that is super important.
Yeah.
I tend to be that person that if I've got something that is bleeding, if I've cut myself or whatever, I don't need to go to the doctor, but I may actually need 4 or 5 stitches. Or if, my son had appendicitis when he was in high school, and I almost didn't take him to the doctor because I tend to minimize things a little bit.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good. Well, I'm very conscientious about being over dramatic. I don't like dramatics, and so I tend to go too far the other extreme without being realistic.
Yeah.
Which is why it's probably been a little difficult for me to deal with some of the things in my past, because I minimized them in my brain of how impactful they were or how bad they were. So with anxiety, defining that is super important, but it's also understanding that it's not a weakness if you have anxiety.
Yeah.
So.
Because it's fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's been a hard thing for me. You're talking about defining it. It's just like, you want things to work out. And I've too many times I've had things like that were supposed to pan out. Then like a lot of times, like out of my control, just didn't work out. And it's like, I got to tell my family. It's like, hey honey, this isn't panning out. And it's like, so every opportunity that comes, you're like thinking about those past situations. And you're like, well, what if this doesn't work out? And that's like a hard thing. And you got to realize like, hey, it's going to go to the direction it needs to go. But you talking about that, my journey, it's like, maybe you've seen this, is like presence is really hard because people are always like, just be present. And I get it. I love that.
It's easy to say that, but
I have to like force that presence, but I don't know. I own my own business and I've got a family. I'm thinking about their future and the future of it. Like, it's a really hard thing to be present when you're thinking ahead. It's like, how do you do that?
Yeah. And I think that's the question. And I think it's a little different for everybody. That looks different. I'm not the person that I love to work, and it's almost an addiction.
Yeah.
Terry and I talk about that because sometimes he'll say, you make me feel lazy, because my brain, the more directions that it's going in, the happier I am.
Mm-hmm.
I can toggle between a lot of different things, which is why I'm involved in so many different businesses and pursuits. There is a level that we reach that it can be overwhelmed, but it takes a lot more for me to get there than probably a lot of people. So that said, this is one thing that my husband and I have had to talk about a lot and come to terms with a lot in understanding each other, because he can sit on the couch and shut it down for 8 hours and watch TV and movies and all of that. And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's not relaxing for me. I mean, I don't mind watching a show here or there, but my mind is still on the things that I want to do or the things that I need to do. And when I'm in a really intense time, I'll wake up at 3 a.m. and the best thing that's going to lower my anxiety or what is my head spinning is going downstairs and getting on my computer and starting to knock through some of the things that were on my brain.
Yeah, I think you emailed me at like 2 a.m. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, hey, I probably did, because I'm really bad about that.
It's okay.
But no. Yeah, and it's not, some people would look at it and say that's not healthy, and it's not healthy for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
But it, as we talk about, it is a journey. So trying to figure out what things are going to lower my anxiousness, or I need to solve problems or make this smaller in my mind. I feel like I have 5 hours of work to do, but it may only be 30 minutes if I knock through 3 or 4 things. So yeah, I mean, I just think it's so different for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it was like regearing the mindset of like hours.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I had to work 12, 14-hour
Mm-hmm.
days to be successful. And it's like, maybe sometimes,
Yeah.
but also I can get just as much done in 8 hours. Like some days it's like, if I push past this amount of time, is that really going to benefit my business?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to get that much more done? Or if I'm just super intentional about this amount of hours, because I want to like get my daughter a bath and like, you know what I'm saying? I want to do all that stuff with my family. And so that can pull you away from that presence even more. So it's like,
I'm in a season of, it can wait till tomorrow. Yeah. If it waits till tomorrow, is something, is that going to be okay?
That's really cool.
And so I keep reminding myself, it's not easy, but I keep reminding myself it doesn't have to be done now. Yeah. And I mentioned earlier that I have a new grandson. He's 8 months old.
What a blessing.
Oh my gosh. They say being a grandparent is a totally different experience. And I've heard that for my whole life, but until you actually experience it, it is something else. And so what is really cool about that is if nothing else brings me present, he will bring me present. So I set aside that time and I try everything that I can not to let anything be more important than that time, because I go over there once a week, and it's, at least once a week, and it's I walk through that door and I don't care what happens on my phones. I don't care. I don't care what happens. I've got it. Everything else will be just fine. And so even having that makes me realize that outside of those times, it's okay if this doesn't get done right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's good. That's good. Certain things are just going to force you to come back to that presence, and it's like I brought up the waterfall thing. I have a friend that's an entrepreneur, and he told me one time, he's like, Joe, keep doing shit like that. Yeah. He said, because I've been at this entrepreneur thing for a long time. And he said, I'll be honest, I don't know who I am outside of it. Yeah. And I was like, one, that's really powerful insight to have on yourself. This says a lot about him, but two, like, damn, it's also kind of sad. Yeah. Like that's his identity at this point, because he let it strip the inner parts of himself away. Not that he's not working towards that, but he did realize like a lot of that, you can become lost in it to where that becomes everything. And then you wake up, you don't even know who you are. You see with pro athletes, Olympic athletes all the time. Yeah. And then that's like, so it can be a tough reality to face, but
for sure. It's a constant work in progress.
Heck yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to touch on before I ask a couple last couple questions that you want to touch on? Did you want to bring up anything else about, grief
Yeah.
and what that's taught you? Because I feel like it's important to highlight. So if you want to, feel free to share.
I'll be honest, the whole grief thing is very, very new to me, on this level. And I have a lot of work to do, and I'm very aware of that. I am the person that takes care of everybody else. So I kick into action. I'm that person for my family. I'm the decisive person. I'm the one I'm going to go help who needs help and show up for everybody. So I think with that, what I'm learning is grief gets delayed when you're that person. And it's a different experience. And so we're to a different place with the constant intensity of emotion and it just striking consistently. But now I'm to the point where it takes me by surprise and there's still a lot there to work through. So I would love to speak knowledgeably on that, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, you're healing.
There's a lot that I haven't worked through with the concept of death. My brother being part of my identity because I've always had two brothers. I've always been the middle kid, and he's so wrapped up in my identity about who I am now, the strength that I carry, and why I do what I do. So there's just a lot to work through there.
It seems like he played a lot of influence on, like, even with your original professional pursuit after finance. Like, he was already in that.
He was there. Yeah, he was there. And it's just, even on its most basic level of just understanding death, it sounds like I'm 51 years old and trying to understand death better. It leads into the spiritual journey and all that is interconnected there. And so, I'm just getting started in that. That sounds weird, but I'm just getting started in all of that and how I'm growing from that and where that leads to an understanding of it. And I've got a long way to go. Yeah.
So, well, maybe, down the road, we could discuss this more, cause I've got some thoughts, but I think I want to see where you get down the road and just talk about it.
I think the good thing is I love to write, and I haven't written in a long time because I've been so busy with everything else. And I know that is very healing for me. And that is a huge tool in growth for me. So I think this is going to be powerful in getting me back to that. It's also going to be a catalyst for me to pursue more of the helping people through my own experience and what I know about anxiety and stress and what that can do to you. And how we all suffer needlessly in some of those things.
100%. So. And I feel that knowing what I know of you, I think you'll take, based on our discussion, I think you'll take, your brother's loss. I truly do believe you'll take that and you'll impact others through that. And
I hope so.
I'm just proud of you.
Thank you.
And we'll discuss it another one of these days in time. We'll know each other. Y'all are a few minutes away from me, so I'll just go and be like, Vanessa, you ready to
There's a lot more, Joe.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a lot more together.
Hell yeah. If you don't mind me asking you a question regarding your brother, if you could say something to him right now, what would you say?
You're trying to get to me, aren't you?
So I always tend to ask this with loss. You don't have to answer it. So feel free to we'll move forward.
I don't know that I'm ready for that yet.
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love that. There's lots of thoughts there, but I think that's, I've got,
I completely respect that.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that you've got for us today on this episode? Because I think we've covered a lot. I mean, I'm pretty sure we could expand upon all of these topics that we talked about, but I think it's been
same time next week.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm down. I'm down. Let's do it. No, but I've just had so much fun.
Yeah, me too.
It's been a pleasant time.
It's been great.
I do got to ask my final question. Are you ready for that?
Maybe.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Vanessa, what is your relentless pursuit?
Oh my gosh. Constant growth and figuring out what I'm supposed to be doing next in helping others and lifting them up in their own journey.
I can't wait to see what lies ahead for you. And I know, again, based off of this conversation, I know you're going to constantly be working towards that growth. And I'm excited as hell to watch your journey unfold even more. And I'm excited as hell to know you. And, thank you for the opportunity to sit here with you today and hear your journey and your thoughts on all these different things. And I'm beyond blessed.
Same.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, until next time. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned in this show, and honestly in life, is that healing doesn't live in just one lane. Some people find it through addiction recovery, some through therapy, some through faith, some through hard conversations that they've avoided for years, and some for finally being honest about what they're carrying. I started this show to give people a voice, to share real journeys, real struggles, and real growth. And what it's shown me is how many people are walking through similar battles, even if it looks different on the surface. Through this platform, I've been connected with people across so many lanes: addiction recovery, mental health, veterans and first responders, faith, marriage and relationships, trauma, and everything in between. I want to say this clearly. If you're listening right now and you're struggling, please reach out. You don't need to know exactly what you need. You don't need the right words. You don't have to even know exactly where to start, but through my network, I'll do everything I can to get you connected with the right person in the right lane for where you are. That's what this show is about. Real stories, real connection, and reminding people that there is a way forward.